and welcome back to the Delaware Boys Dynasty Football Podcast. Ryan, say what's up to the people.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome back. We're knocking these things out, baby. Another mock draft headed your way. Once again, before everything started, thank you for those who are participating in the mock draft tonight and those who may be tuning in tonight. Steven, we have a special guest tonight. I'll let you bring them on in like usual.
Oh, yeah.
We'll kick things off.
Welcome into our sanctuary. Excuse me, Ryan. Apologize. Chew Russell at Father Dynasty. He has been a frequent flyer on our podcast before. Welcome back, buddy.
Friend of the show.
Thanks for having me. Yeah, glad to be here. Glad to be doing some mocks. Glad to contribute to the ADP. So I'd like to, when we look back at it at the end, I will know that I contributed something, hopefully good.
Oh, absolutely.
You don't want to look back and be like, "Oof, that one sucks."
It's like that's why Jalen Polk rose so high. It will be because of me if that happens.
He loves Jalen Polk.
I'm getting on board too recently, to be honest with you.
Me too, 100%, buddy. And you know why? I strictly started diving to the tape more because of you. Just so you know.
See, some good happened. Some good.
Yeah. Ryan. Big news, huge news, guys. Let's go ahead. We got a huge announcement for the fans here. As everybody comes into the show, I think you should have the honor and privilege to talk.
Sure. So we were contacted by DFF about a week ago. Well, yeah, about a week ago at this point.
Yep.
About the initial process of getting started and if we wanted to give it a shot. And naturally, we don't, something like that doesn't cross your table every day. So got to at least give it a shot. Pretty smooth process. We're happy to join the DFF Army. We are working with them on a project. We can't say anything yet because it's still in the process, but really excited for the opportunity and happy to maybe have someone who believes in us again.
Absolutely. Got a comment here. The boys are in town. Dynasty Football Factory, DFF Army. Thank you guys. We appreciate it. We do have some of the DFF the clan, the tribe, they will be in the draft tonight. So again, I'm going to keep everything 100 with you guys. We're going to tell you what we got, going on. Yards per, we're here, baby. That was a big part of our negotiation. We wanted to stay with yards per as well. Yards per is like family. Anybody from RPO that may tune in tonight, they were our first shot. Our first real shot. So I like to be as open about this as possible, especially to Leo, and all the boys over there at the RPO family. They were great. They're family, 100%. Ryan, I'll tell you, it broke my heart to have that conversation. So we stepped away from doing content for RPO. Continued success to RPO and all the people that work for Leo. They are a phenomenal group of people. So Ryan, anything you want to say?
Yeah, we got to get these mocks started. But no, RPO, great to us. I don't mean to glaze over RPO. Super thankful for Leo. That whole team is absolutely amazing. I just think we're going two separate directions. They're going more towards the IDP side of things. But me and Steven kind of feel like a little bit out of place. But nonetheless, they have a great team over there. They're building an even better team as we speak. And all but best of luck to everybody over at RPO.
Absolutely. Let's bring the screen up, boys. Let's get rolling. Before I do this, Ryan, where are you picking out of tonight? I'll tell you where I'm picking out of, and then Chew, you got your spot.
I'm on the 4 spot.
The 4. I took the 9, and Chew is beside me at the 10. So I'm gonna take Jalen Polk just to be an asshole.
You know what? And you're helping the ADP, so that's okay. Everyone's 10.
All right, everybody. Most of the drafts here. Drafts on, boys. Let's do it.
The 1-1 seems to switch back and forth thanks to little brother over here, but we'll see if
Marvin Harrison Jr. 100% doesn't even matter.
Look, I'm trying to tell you, man, it's happening. Tides are turning.
I mean, I don't care. Regardless, I think Caleb is the 1-1. That's just me, but I don't care honestly at this point. I've watched so much Marvin Harrison Jr. tape. You know what you're getting. Generational. Absolutely generational, guys. You know what I mean? Caleb Williams walking into the best situation we've seen for any rookie quarterback in quite some time that I can recall off the top of my head. I mean, maybe Herbert. I mean, do you guys have any other QB that fits in that mold?
Now, in terms of in situation, Caleb Williams is walking into it's wild to think even just 2 years ago what that situation was like and how it more or less whatever you think of Justin Fields, what it basically derailing his career. And not saying he can't turn it back around, but Caleb Williams stepping into what is a good group of weapons. I mean, an overall revamped team. He's fortunate.
Yeah, people forget though. There's still $48 million in cap looming, plus the 9 pick, plus the additional draft capital that's going to be in 2025. This team's not done yet by any word or any stretch of the imagination. I'm really excited to see the Chicago Bears put this all together for Caleb. I talk about it. I can't get over the fact of like how well he plays out of structure. Sorry, Ryan, you got a minute on the clock, buddy. I'm not going to.
No, I'm letting you guys do your thing. I'm good over here. I'm scouting the next round. But yeah, no, we're good. I was actually happy to hear the debate between Caleb and Marvin. Were you still Caleb Williams probably a true 101?
Yeah, when it comes to Superflex, it's going to take a lot for me. And Marvin Harrison is a lot, in my opinion. In terms of that is probably one of the biggest battles I've had between a quarterback and non-quarterback at the 101. But I'm still comfortable with Caleb, and if I need to move him after the draft, I feel comfortable doing that.
Yeah. So we see Drake follow up Caleb. Look, it's a Superflex, right? A lot of people are going to scoff at that. A lot of people have Nabers there, even as high as the 1-3, Stephen Chalmers. But nonetheless, look, here's my thing with Jayden Daniels, right? He may not be like the purest passer, but he has a separate skill set in his rushing game that makes him able to step into the next role. Now, say what you want, Justin Fields didn't get his next contract. Like, these guys aren't long-term guys unless your name is Lamar Jackson. But that still gives you a window of 4 years of fantasy production. Not real-life production, but fantasy production that gives you a small window to maybe go out and do something. So I'm with Jayden Daniels at the 1-4 here, and I have no problem with it.
No, I'm fine with that. Yeah. I broke it down. I had Malik at the 1-3. You know how high I am on Malik. Yeah. I had Jayden starting the tier 2 for the 1, or I had Drake starting the 1-2. Excuse me, but I have Drake, Jayden, Rome, and Brock all in that same realm. Yeah. I don't have them too far off, honestly, between the 3 to the 6 and the 7. You know what I mean? It's a pretty stacked like skill set group right there. Yeah. I really don't think it matters particularly in this aspect. Go get your guy. We play tight end premium. If you took Brock Bowers there, I'm not mad either. You know what I mean? Like the situation is what changes. You know what I mean? It changes things for a lot of people here. I think they're really close, and we do have comments coming in too, so we're going to bring those as well. Chris, we look at the 1-1. Again, guys, when we talk about the 1-1, it's tough. It's really tough. If your guy's Marvin, get your guy.
Right.
The only league I owe the 1-1 in, I desperately need QB help, and it's not even a question who I'm taking at the 1-1.
Right.
Desperately.
Oh, come on. I think it very much this situation, though, because if you're sitting there somehow with the 1-1 and have a stacked quarterback room, I guess it had to be pretty stacked to pass on Marvin
you'd have to have Williams, like Anthony Richardson went down. You have to have a lot of good guys.
A lot of rough
things didn't go right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Now, would you again? So the QB build and how you have it, are you trading back and only trading back to acquire Marvin Harrison, or are you looking to make another in general?
Is that for me?
Yeah, in general. Like if you had the 1-1 QB room set, are you looking to trade back and like acquire the additional draft cap, or what are we doing? Are you
sure? Yeah, absolutely. I mean, if I'm stacked at quarterback, like if my quarterback is like you just said, AR who went down this year, maybe like a Kirk Cousins. I mean, even Kirk Cousins don't feel great about, but like just guys like that. I mean, it'd be tough. But I mean, if I have 3 really good quarterbacks, I'll probably trade down and take Harrison, sure. But between the 1-1 and the 1-2, the value's not too far off, I would imagine.
Yeah, this is tough here. I'm obviously between 2 players. I'm going to take my guy. I've been raving him all offseason. Everybody knows how much I love Troy Franklin. I mean, shit, I laid it all on the line for Troy Franklin. So if I'm wrong, you guys have an outlet to absolutely roast me. But again, I saw another stat that adds to just the dominance of Troy Franklin. Troy Franklin was on the level of single man coverage. Was on the same level as Jamar Chase, Devontae Smith, and other areas or other receivers in that range. Jalen Waddle was another one that was on this list I was looking at. Single man coverage in college in 2023. He averaged over 5 yards per route run. That's insane. He was the best receiver in the nation this year when it came to running against single man coverage. I don't know. I don't know what else to say. I love this dude. I'm taking him everywhere. I love this dude.
I'm in lockstep with you. I mean, despite his size and speed and everything, he's not just a go ball guy. Like his routes are so much better than just that. I mean, he's so shifty. Again, I do understand the fragility concern of him being such a slight guy, and people are kind of throwing around the Devonta Smith. It's like, well, they're not the same guy, but I get the point in terms of a slighter guy who can work on the outside and can win and can last a whole season. But Franklin's locked in wide receiver 4 for me.
Yeah, Franklin's he's getting slowed down. Sorry, go ahead.
Let you make a pick here though, but we got some good comments coming in here, man. I can't wait to bring these up.
All right, so for me, this could be probably one of 3 different players, and this will be all settled when the draft actually happens. But going Jonathan Brooks, he's my running back 1. Obviously, this year more than ever, I feel like it is so tremendously landing spot specific when it comes to where these guys are going to go. Brooks, the injury history and everything, I understand all that, but I think when you're looking at talent, and I don't think it's just which running back goes to the Cowboys. I think Brooks can kind of rise above a lot of these situations, and he can be the running back 1.
Absolutely, 100% agree. Bowers to the 1-7, yes, please. 100% agree. 100% agree. I personally have them flipped. I have Bowers over Rome Odunze. That's just me.
Yeah.
Some people have it differently. I just know that I got to watch Brock Bowers go absolutely nuts from the time he was 18 years old in SEC competition. I always say SEC. Good God, I can't speak tonight. Lights shine bright. And Brock Bowers is quite possibly the greatest tight end prospect I've ever got to watch in college football. And we've seen some elite tight ends in my lifetime between Vernon Davis, Gronkowski, Aaron Hernandez, Kyle Pitts, Noah Fant, TJ Hawkinson. I can name a lot of guys that have an elite level profile for the tight end position, and none of them stack up to Brock Bowers. Prospect profile for Troy Franklin is clean. 110%.
Checks out.
Franklin over Ryan.
Yeah.
Me too. Absolutely. The reasoning behind this, Ryan, go ahead and make your pick. I'm sorry. I'm
going between 2 guys, but I'm going to continue to take my guy and just never back down. Talk about him on all but 2 of these out of my 5. I'm still rolling with Blake Corum, man. He's just my guy. Kind of like Steve. Well, me and Steve are both very much Troy Franklin guys, but I have my guys in this draft class, and if I'm wrong, then I'm wrong. That's just how it's going to be this year. And that guy kind of touched on it in the comments, but Troy Franklin over Brian Thomas, the more I look at it. I mean, the hype sways you a little bit here and there, but at the end of the day, the route tree aspect of it all, Troy Franklin's route tree is way more consistent, way more open than Brian Thomas offers, especially what he ran at LSU. He's kind of expected to do 2 or 3 things, and he did those really well. But that doesn't always translate great into the league. So I have Troy Franklin over Brian Thomas. I just, like I said, like you touched on too, the size things concerns people, but we could push through it.
Yeah, size isn't a big thing in the league today. It's not as big as it was 10 years ago when receivers dared to go across the middle, and if they did, they got their head knocked off. This isn't the same kind of NFL. These crafty, these dudes that can just run routes, these smaller guys, these 180, 175 pound guys, they make impacts in the league. They're difference makers with the ball in their hand. On top of the fact that we're talking about a clean analytic profile for Troy Franklin, we're talking about a guy who has a 4.4 speed on top of just crisp, fluid movements in and out of breaks. hip fluidity, the things you look for in the receiver, that's what you want.
Yeah.
He brings it to the table. And I don't know where else to plant my flag here, guys. I truly don't.
Yeah. So let's not turn this into a Troy Franklin show, even though it definitely contributed to that. But nonetheless, we talked about him for a good round here. JJ McCarthy, the 2-3, is the lowest that we've seen in a few drafts now. Is that like more realistically where he should be going, or do you agree with him in the front of the back end of the first round?
No, I think he's a first round. I think he's a first round pick here. I think people at this point probably have like their flags planted on their guys, and they're going to go get their guys regardless. So somebody's going to fall, and if it's JJ McCarthy, if it's Troy Franklin, if it's Xavier Worthy, then so be it. I just think he was the unfortunate guy tonight. I think we do another one in a couple of days. We'll go at the 1-8 or 1-9. A.D. Mitchell.
What are your thoughts on McCarthy? Yeah.
You know, I know it's been pretty volatile, and I feel like the two camps are basically he hasn't done much, but we believe he can do so much more, or he hasn't done much, and we don't have any certainty that he can do more. And while I understand that, and that kind of leads to the variability in how people look at him, I'm a little less sold on him. I think that the gap between McCarthy and Penix in terms of what they can do in the NFL is a bit closer than people want to believe.
Yeah.
But I understand, I feel like with Penix too, going into it, I think people were just saying he's this, he can throw, but then he was made to look pretty vulnerable in his final game, which I think really, like hypothetically, if that game didn't happen, what do we think of Penix today? And I understand that's revisionist history and all that kind of stuff, but he's someone who I'd almost be able to wait a little bit more for Penix than quote unquote reach for McCarthy on a guy that I think maybe isn't ready enough yet, and I think his being a little bit overblown.
James, I'm sorry, we didn't mean to interrupt your comment on the screen as well. Would you rather have Puka or Nabers here? Shoot, Ryan.
I think Puka in my mind. I mean, you see what Matt Stafford continues to do with these receivers year in, year out. Now you take Puka away from Matt Stafford, I don't know what the story looks like. But as long as Stafford's playing with Puka, I think you got a pretty solid receiver there. My whole thing is like he's already kind of a top 10 dynasty receiver, firmly for me. Why risk it for a rookie? I get the chance that he's better is there, but give me Puka.
Give me Puka as well. Although I have a real serious talk with myself to where I think Malik Nabers could crack my top 10. I really do. And I do think it's actually a really good question. I really do. I have Puka inside the top 7 or top. Yeah, he's in my top 7. But I do think there's a conversation where Malik Nabers could crack that 10 spot for me.
Yeah, I'm going Puka of those two as well. And I waited till the 210. It's Jalen Polk. I think at this point we've got reasonable value. I think when you look at that trio of receivers in Washington, Odunze again overshadows both of those guys, but I don't think that's to discount either of them in terms of what they are able to do. I think Polk, what he does is not the sexy thing, and I think if that's going to allow him to be pushed down to the end of the second round, God forbid into the third, I'm scooping that up everywhere I can. He's sure-handed. He's got that great wide receiver frame, works inside and out, even a little bit behind the line of scrimmage. I mean, I love it.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm a big fan of this whole Washington wide receiver room. And Jalen Polk is a player that, as I dove in more, it became more of just like a solid. Like it left a good taste in my mouth. Jalen Polk does everything right. Like you said, it's not the sexy pick, but he's in the right spot at the right time. He just does everything right that you want out of a wide receiver. And I do see his value increasing, and it's showing in these mocks that we've been doing a lot recently. So I'm a big fan of the pick. And it was the same thing with Javon Baker for me. Javon Baker is the same, and the same. What's the word I'm looking for here, Ryan? Please help me out. The same tier, the same realm. In here,
I didn't know how to help you.
Yeah, you didn't help me at all, but it's okay. Javon Baker is talent where we see him going as like wide receiver 12, wide receiver 13 in these mocks. And I have him at wide receiver 8. I'm big on Javon Baker, huge on the talent. I've been preaching about him for a while now as well. And why not go get your guy? I haven't drafted late in any of these drafts, and here's my chance to get him.
Yeah, 2.9 is certainly the highest we've seen Baker go for sure.
Sure, 100%.
Yeah,
100%.
So I got sniped actually. Jalen Ramsey is probably my pick there. It was between Roman Wilson and Ricky Pearsall. I think I like Roman Wilson. He's got a real nose for the end zone. I won't lie. Even with JJ McCarthy as his quarterback, he's kind of slept on low key. I mean, you look at it like they really weren't passing in Michigan. They were strictly a run-heavy team, and he kind of got blanketed. But when it was time for JJ to get the ball in the red zone, he was looking for Roman Wilson just about every time.
100% agree. The running backs really came off the board here.
Yeah, running backs are gone.
Yeah, running backs are gone, boys. Unfortunately, this is a player that I said I'd never draft. Look, man.
See it then. Who you got?
Oh yeah,
This is a receiver that I'm.
Yeah.
This is a receiver that I'm not very high on here, to be honest. I don't like the profile. I don't.
Yeah.
So at this point, why not?
This might be the first time in these drafts where I feel like that's actually not a bad pick at the 3.9. I mean, we saw him go as high as 2.1. So it's like 2.1 is like doing too much, but 3.9, I think you're okay, despite all the hatred I give him.
Yeah, Jim, to be honest with you, we've had one auto drafter the last 2 drafts, but for the first 3, we haven't had a specific, or we haven't had anybody auto draft, and it's been a lot of fun. I also want to bring up the fact that Ryan, he showed a lot of love for your pick here, Roman Wilson at the 3-4, a sneaky slot guy, good blocker. We're big on Roman Wilson, and I think with limited passing volume that played around Michigan, I think it kind of hurt him a little bit as well.
For sure.
But Roman Wilson is a guy analytically who tested really well, and he plays a lot bigger than what he is. He's a player that I like as well.
Well, I can only speak to being sniped a couple of times this round with Pearsall and Corley. But I get my guy as a receiver that's still on here, and that's Malik Washington.
Good pick.
Big on this guy. As a Virginia Tech fan, it pains me and it burns my skin each time I draft him, but I have to do it. I mean, he was such a mega producer, and I think a lot of what the production he didn't have prior to UVA was more so just the team that he was on and not so much his inability to produce. But I comp him, and this is the only guy I've ever done this with since kind of, doing this comp thing. And Steve Smith, I see a little bit in him. It's not just the size, but I mean, this guy's an absolute dog, and he can carry a team. And I understand he's not that alpha mold and everything, but I think he can be a high target guy, and I think he can produce well. My
boy says Steve Smith. I like it. Alex coming in. I mean, I appreciate you for showing up, Alex, too. I'm not any means, but 3.9 is a steal. 100%. We saw him early, wide receiver 10 or higher. And to be honest with you, I was never on the train. But at this point, as you count the wide receivers, this is wide receiver 15 for Keon Coleman. This is pushing him more towards the realm of a possibility where I'll take on my taxi slot for a little bit. The profile is just not one that stands out to me. It's not, and I'm just not a fan of the profile. So some love there.
But are you okay for missing out on Cowling, by the way? Oh man, and you took my guy.
Sorry. Cowling, I like. I think I told this guy last time he was on the podcast, Sam Wise, a little bit too much. He sniped me twice this draft. I don't like it. I think he might be fucking with me. But no, I don't mind Ray Davis at all. The running backs get a little tough. They're kind of hit or miss in this area, but at least I could look at something and say he does that well. I haven't finished my full profile of Ray Davis recently, but I feel from what I've seen in the 4th round, I got no hate for that at all.
Big fan of Ray Davis.
Yeah.
A.D. Mitchell to the right team will skyrocket him up the wide receiver tiers. Thoughts on this, fellas?
I don't know. I'm off one to talk. I'll let you guys answer this one. I've never really been a big AD Mitchell guy in the first place. I don't really see it, to be honest. Maybe I'm blind, but I'm not into body catcher receivers, so I'll let them handle that.
I will say this. I'm going to say analytically, or from an athletic standpoint, he tests really well. We all can see that. The combine really brought light to AD Mitchell. But if you're looking at it as an overall, yes, he had 11 touchdowns last year. But I'm going to say that QB play honestly hurt Xavier Worthy his whole time at Texas. We could have seen, a huge 3-year stretch where we were talking about Xavier Worthy as the number 3 wide receiver in this class, and Quinn Ewers held him back. His college dominator rating, things like that stand out, his yards per route run from an analytical standpoint. As you break down the analytics of it, there's some question marks there. It's just like a couple of these guys, like Frank Gore, didn't test the greatest athletically at the combine, but he's an analytical darling. Same as Bucky Irving. AD Mitchell now comes into this same light, and it's like, what do we do? Are you looking from an athletic standpoint, or you want to see it from the analytical standpoint? Tape shows a lot. I'm not going to lie. The dude can separate. The dude is fluid, hip movement, everything you're looking for from a wide receiver. But there's red flags. There's red flags here, guys. And you guys know it too. I don't know.
Uni hired you. Can you speak some light on his name?
I'm afraid light's not what's going to happen if I say anything. So I'm in lockstep myself.
Okay, cool.
Sorry,
I ran on your parade, buddy.
Ben Sonato as well as another tight end flying up boards that we know has been getting a lot of love. I'm hoping my guy makes it here because this is my 4th round opponent. Please,
who would that be?
If you follow,
I know who it is. I can't pick him.
You follow the mock series.
Pick Theo Johnson for us.
There's my boy Theo. There he is. We are Penn State, baby.
There it is.
Huge fan of this kid. Have watched him a long time. One of the most athletic tight ends in this draft. Again, you got Bowers, you got Benson, and you got Theo Johnson from an athletic standpoint. Me and you always talk about this. I think the tight end is a position where you learn this as you get into the NFL. We've never seen a case like Bowers. We're willing to bet, paychecks on this kid coming in and dominating the league for a long time. And then after that, sometimes this position is just right situation, right time, and just getting an opportunity. And Theo Johnson is one of the most athletic tight ends in this class, which I'm willing to put my money on. Big fan.
Yep.
I'm loving all these athletic tight ends coming out this year, which it's not, we obviously have Bowers at the top, but so many of these other guys have such great athletic profiles. It's at least exciting to see, hey, once they make it in the league, what can they become? Which, is what we're mostly waiting on for these tight ends. So,
right. And, the 4th round, how many times are you going to find a Puka Nacua? You know what I mean? Like these guys, like overall, are these guys
went undrafted sometimes?
Yeah, Puka went undrafted. You're right.
Yep.
But my point is like, when's the last time that we're gonna, hit on these gems? So like, why not find that athletic darling? Why not find that player that you really have a plant for, you really love, and go for it? That's what happened with me. I was high on Puka, very high on Puka going into last year. Tried to get him everywhere I could, and it panned out for me. But these 4th round picks likely aren't going to work out. We know that, but it's okay. Take your shot.
Well, take my shot, I will, because I'm going with the jackrabbit himself, Isaiah Davis. I was between him and a number of other obscure running backs, but again, like you said, that's kind of the point we're at in the draft, where it's like I can talk myself into the narrative on any one of these guys,
absolutely.
But which one do I feel like I can really believe? And the answer is all of them, but I just had to pick one.
Absolutely. So I'm going to pull this up, Ryan. Again, screenshots are vital for when our AD article comes out. I appreciate you.
Good.
As everybody, is going to either stay and talk with us for a little bit, or if they dip out, I just want to say thank you, everybody, for being here for this, and thank you, everybody, for participating in the mock draft. We hope you enjoyed this series so far. We have a couple more weeks until the NFL draft, so we're really excited to keep this series rolling. James, thank you very much for being here. We appreciate that as well. So the first question I ask, does any pick here on this board stand out to you as a, let's say, value, steal, Does that anything stand out for you guys?
Gio, go ahead.
I feel kind of gross saying this, but I mean, Bo Nix at the 401 is a little bit shocking, and I don't know if that's just because I didn't expect Penix to go that soon, so I think the gap maybe is just like visually it's kind of messing with me. I think I expected them to Penix maybe back into the second, maybe early third. But the fact that you have that, I mean, at the 401 getting Bo Nix, who I mean, does he go to the Raiders? Does he go to the Rams? A couple of these other spots where it's like, you don't, especially the Rams. That when I saw that mock there, I'm like, that's tremendous. I would like that because he's not starting over Stafford. That's not the concern. No. But I think there's a genuine concern with Stafford's future with his health and everything. And also, he's accomplished a lot and he's filthy rich. So I would not be shocked if he's retiring as healthy as he possibly can and just ride down from the sunset. Let Bo Nix take the reins.
Yeah, 100%. I saw he had a private workout in Seattle the other day. He was out there having lunch with the GM, the owner of Seattle. Nice. So wherever he goes, I hope it's a position where he gets to sit back, hold the clipboard, learn from a veteran, be able to handle the game, the in and outs of the NFL game, you know what I mean, and sit back and just visualize and learn at this game speed. We all know the NFL game speed is completely different than college. So I like that pick at 4-1 as well. Same time I said it, JJ McCarthy at pick 13 was kind of a steal as well. And Sam Wise goes back-to-back quarterbacks here with Drake Maye, JJ McCarthy. So I do like that as well for that board. Ryan, any picks stand out to you?
JJ at 2-3. I don't hate that. As far as a reach go, I mean, normally my go-to is Coleman, but I mean, he went appropriately. I think draft looks pretty good. I mean, you're very, very high on Javon Baker. Otherwise, I would say that's maybe a little high, but I get go get your guy, especially if he's not going to make it back to you.
He's not making it back to me.
Yeah, no shot. So you get your chance to talk to him, preach your guy. Other than that, I got no problem with the board. Jaheim Bell, first time he's been drafted in these, I think, which is a surprise.
We got some questions coming in here as well. The boys over the Dynasty Football Factory by position, who are each of your sleepers? I'll start. My sleeper for the QB position, I've been trying to get him everywhere I possibly can, late in drafts, as the Uncle Rico, as we would say. Spencer Rattler. This is a QB that we had pegged and going probably, let's go to 2021, 2022 as the number one QB of this class. And then, of course, we all know what happened with Caleb Williams and the downfall. Looked really good in the Senior Bowl, in my opinion. Showed a lot of flashes. And,
sure.
I mean, the arm, he has an elite arm. That didn't just go away. He has tools and traits to work with. So I got the wide receiver position. I think there's a huge, group of guys here. We talk highly of Roman Wilson. We talk highly of Ricky Pearsall.
Yeah.
We talk highly of that group of guys, and I think they're a steal, especially as you see them falling late second, early third of these drafts. It just shows how important the later rounds of this draft are, and that these picks actually have value. The running back position to me was still Bucky Irving. I'm going to live and die on this train. Yes, not an analytical darling, but his tape stands out. It always has stood out. Bucky is one of my guys that I've loved for a long time, and I'm going to continue to ride that train. And then, of course, tight end, my guy Theo Johnson.
Yeah. So you kind of took my quarterback. We're both pretty high on him. Jalen Wright's probably my running back. I get, he does have vision problems. That's Steve's big point on him. He definitely does, but he's still pretty solid. He misses his tackles. He looks pretty good in film. If he could figure out the whole vision thing, which I know is a little bit tough, but I'm pretty high on him as far as an athletic standpoint goes. He's very, very solid. If you're getting him in the third round, I think it's worth a shot there. If he creeps into the back end of the second, I think that changes a little bit. But as far as ADP goes, probably Jalen Wright in your late round picks. Also Braylon Allen, who can profile as a goal line back for a team. I mean, we've seen that even with David Montgomery, who's not the superior back in Detroit, but he still finds his path of success. Same with Jamal Williams. We're starting to see this nowadays. As far as receivers go, Roman Wilson, pretty big on him. Cowing late, but once again, once getting these fourth rounds, the hit rate's pretty rough. Sanat, I love, tests very well athletically. I think that's about it for my sleeper guys. It's probably not for you, Chu, but you got anything? I just feel like this is a test from DFF.
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, I'm a Rattler guy, and honestly, in so many of the mocks that I've done, I've gotten to the point where I need to actively not pick him with my last pick just because I feel not by any means I think it's a waste of a pick. I believe in the player, certainly with how far he's fallen in seemingly everyone's minds. But I think he's a tremendous value. In terms of running back, Ray Davis is my guy, at least comparatively in terms of where I see he's getting mocked at this point. Yeah. I mean, Uber producer at multiple different programs. I understand there's the age piece of that. There's the tread on the tires and what have you. But, I mean, he can do it all. And I think at this point, whatever we're supposed to believe that the NFL thinks about running backs and how they value them and second contracts and all that, I'm worried about your first contract. I'm worried about what you can do, in terms of an overall skill set. And he can do a bit of everything. Let's see. Wide receiver, I picked him on here. Malik Washington. There's some other guys I like, obviously Polk and Pearsall. Those are
I was a big fan of Malik Washington as well. It's a great pick there as well.
Thank you. He's one where I like when I have a my guy soon enough that I watch in mocks that I just watch them kind of, okay, I know I picked him in this one, so maybe I skewed that a little bit. But I like to watch them climb in mocks and just think, I don't need to be validated in my opinion because I can be stupid. No one else has to agree with me. But watching his film, and I'm just like, why does no one else see this? And then seeing more people, I'm like, okay, more people are seeing this. I know he's a bit smaller. It's kind of a unique role, but I think he can do it at the next level. And honestly, I mean, I'm in lockstep with you, Steven, in terms of the Theo Johnson at the tight end. I mean, there's so many guys here that are the uber athletic tight ends, but a Penn State tight end, what can go wrong?
my boy. I love it. We got a couple more questions, guys, too. I just want to say this. They said in a super flex, what return would you need to move a player in the 1-1-1-4 range? I'm gonna be honest with you.
Perfect question for you because own in my league picks 1 through 4 via a rebuild. So this is probably the best question for you.
Okay, so for me, I own the 1-1. If I'm trading the 1-1, I need a QB in the same tier. I'm gonna be honest with you, man. I've seen trades where Justin Herbert's being flipped for the 1-1. If you're sending me Herbert, I'm flipping the pick. So that's where I'm at with it. I've seen that a lot. I've seen a lot of people down on Justin Herbert, which really, really blows my mind a little bit. Realistically, I'm not trading the 1-1 for Anthony Richardson. I'm not trading the 1-1 straight up for Kyler Murray. And we're going to keep going down the line here. I mean, I think at the starting point has to be Justin Herbert for me if I'm trading that pick. Especially in your league because I'm QB needy. I'm thinking of my situation personally, and I know all situations are different, but that's just where I'm at with it. I have to look at Justin Herbert and say, I have to get this guy. And unfortunately, you own Justin Herbert, so I'm not getting Justin Herbert. Let's do 1-4 or let's do 1-3. My Malik Nabers pick. I'm just going to throw it out there. That's who's going to be going at the 1-3 in your draft. And for me to trade Malik Nabers, I'm close to cracking him inside my top 10 for my dynasty wide receivers. So we now have to be talking in that aspect. Running backs are really scary for me in this landscape. There's a few staple running backs, and outside of those staples, I'm not looking to acquire running backs. So I'm looking to acquire at the wide receiver position. I guess we need to go on the range of are we talking Garrett Wilson? Are we talking Jalen Waddle? Are we talking players I'm not trading him for Tyreek. That's just me. I'm going to avoid Tyreek in the way my team is set up.
Yeah.
And I've already said Puka, so I'm not going to trade for, I'm not going to get Puka in my opinion. I guess Garrett Wilson, Jalen,
Olave? Is that Olave where you draw the line?
No, I'm going to take Malik Nabers over Olave.
Okay. That's what I'm saying. So like,
so you know what I mean?
Gotcha.
That's the question, is like, you have to, that it's just tough to answer this question, because I think you need to look to trade these picks for packages. I think you need to get as much value out of this pick as you possibly can, depth wise, because Ryan's league is a deep league. And yeah, I think that's more important to me than a 1-for-1 swap.
Look, man, that's a loaded question, to be honest with you. Every situation is very, very different. Picks 1 through 4, if I'm not looking at it on paper, it's hard for me to evaluate, especially in my head. It's tough to be put on the spot for that. But if I'm looking at a team, if I'm in a true rebuild and I'm in shambles and I own picks 1 through 4 or any in between, I'm probably going to hold the pick unless I can get an already proven young stud, like he's touched on. Like, if you can get a Puka Nacua for like 1-3, I think you flip that. I'll take the proven guy and then continue your rebuild. And if Nabers works out, they're probably in the same area anyway, so it kind of works out that way for you. I'm not, if any vets are kind of off the board for me, especially with that high of a rookie pick. As far as Dynasty goes, I'm assuming you probably in a rough situation if you're picking 1 through 4. Not trading for any vets. I don't care if it's Tyreek Hill, the best of the best. I'm not moving it. But as far as like true value goes, it's tough to answer on spot. Every situation's different.
Yeah, my situation's in shambles, boys. Yeah. This is a complete rebuild. I own picks 1, 3, 4, 5, 7, 9, 10, 12, and 14. So believe me when I tell you, I sold out for this class. I own 5 2025 first-round picks. I sold out for the running back class of a lifetime. I can't wait for 2025 and the running backs. I know we're not talking about 25, but just know I sold out completely after I lost in the championship with the Bengals and Bills game 2 years ago. Yeah, a little pissed off about it, but it happened.
Hey, anyway. And I mean, you mentioned we're not talking about 2025, but I mean, who knows, depending on kind of like what range that you're able to pick on that tier in terms of, say, for the wide receiver moving out of the 103, if it's being able to get towards like the back end, but a guy you're still comfortable with, and it's just a disparity in value, if you think they're, worth it, getting that plus a 25 pick could be that kind of thing that kind of keeps inching you down the road of like, all right, I've got a good player. Yeah. It doesn't have to be a good player in a first. It could be a good player in a second in 2025 and all the other guys. That's fair. It's awesome. I'm getting the 103. This is great. So
yeah, absolutely.
If possible.
I think people get like blinders on when it comes to this rookie class, like these like rookie picks and then rookie fever. It all builds in a circle. It's a circle of life, and like how we view it in Dynasty. And I think you can cash in value on that. I do. But in my situation, I'm in shambles. What am I going to do here? There's nobody here that's, there's teams in this league that are all veteran based. So it is what it is. Like, I can't trade with you. You're not helping my window and my timeline. So it's kind of tough in that situation. So I've put myself in that situation as well. So I think I'm going to hold most of my picks when it comes to this draft. But yeah. Ryan, that's going to about wrap it up for us tonight. Is there anything that you want to say before we get out of here?
Thanks for anybody that stopped in today. Thank you, Chu, for showing up to the podcast. Thank you to first of all, we love Chu, big friend of the show here. We're in his corner. I'm in his. Every time I get to work with this man, feels pretty solid. But nonetheless, thanks for anybody tuned in. Thanks for those who participated. And thanks for sticking in and asking questions tonight, boys. We really appreciate it. It adds an extra level of content than I love to do.
Yeah. The comments were flowing. The conversation was flowing. Smiles and laughs as always. We appreciate everybody. Chu, again. Thank you for having Ryan in a little bit of a conniption before the show started. It was great. So thank you for that. Chu, we never asked you this in the beginning. Can you tell the people where to find your content?
Yes. Well, first of all, thank you very much for having me. Glad to be your mystery guest. I'm glad I wasn't too much of a mystery for you, obviously. But you can check me out on Twitter and YouTube at Father Dynasty. I've got the Father Dynasty podcast. I've been on a bit of a hiatus here in the offseason, doing a little bit of writing too, but in terms of the podcast itself, ramping it back up here in a bit. But yeah, check me out on those. Yeah, shoot me a DM on Twitter if you have any questions or anything like that. But yeah, glad to catch up with you guys. Always good
Absolutely.
talk fantasy, talk dynasty, do a mock, answer some comments. So always good.
Yeah, we appreciate everybody that showed up tonight. You guys have been consistent, and you guys have been awesome. You really have got our minds spinning tonight, so we appreciate it. As always, the platform that, that gives us, the ability to do what we do. We appreciate you guys as well. Yards Per, thank you for the platform here. Dynasty Football Factory, thank you, boys, for showing out. We appreciate you guys as well. More announcements to come. We have a couple of interviews this week, so tune into that. That'll be live strictly on Twitter, not YouTube. But until then, guys, just one thing to say. We are